Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Maximizing Data Value, Enhancing RightFax with OpenText Capture Solutions. My name is Brian, just in case that if some of you never meet me before or never have an email exchange before, yeah, I'll be your host for today. We are thrilled to have you join us to explore how combining RightFax with OpenText Capture Solution that can transform the way how your customer manage and leverage their data and derive from their RightFax or any application or the media that is coming from, and make it become a unifying as a data capture hub or different source of data within their business process. Of course, before we dive into the session, I have few housekeeping items to cover. This webinar will be approximately 1 hour. Please mute your microphone to avoid any background noises during this webinar. We will have a Q&A session at the end, so please submit your questions in the chat throughout the presentation if you have any, and welcome to raise any questions in the chat box. And we're going to answer it by the end of the session. This session is being recorded, and we will share the recording with you afterwards. Now, let's start it. I'm pleased to introduce our speakers for today. Vion Cheng, a solution consultant from OpenText. Also on the webinar is Joey, the customer manager from OpenText. They bring a wealth in knowledge and information in the use cases on how to use OpenText Capture Solution, and also to share the valuable insight that can be as an opportunity of offering to your client. And of course, importantly, is bring more value and business to your company. Now I'm going to stop my sharing and over to you, Vion. Maybe Vion, you can just share a bit about your background before we get start, right?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, let me share my screen. Right, thank you so much, Brian. Yeah, let me see where the hold on now. Yeah, I'll turn on my camera as well. So thank you so much, Brian, for the time to get us to this event to share with your partners on how our capture solution works and integrate with RightFax. So my name is Vion Cheng. I'm from OpenText, and I handle mainly on the RightFax solution as well on the capture solutions. So this capture solution actually links as a start of the process where we can integrate all this data that's been captured and then pass it on to the content management or even to your backend LOB applications. So on the line, we also have Joey. Joey, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. This is Joey. I'm actually the customer manager. Basically, I'm based in Singapore, but I cover the Southeast Asia. Especially, I have been working with Matrix Invent for RightFax solution for the past 3 years now. And we did see that this intelligent capture would be the next wave. Therefore, we are having this sales enablement. If there's any question you have on regards of commercial, just feel free to reach out to me. Over to you, Vion.
Thank you so much. So without further ado, let me start the presentation. Okay, so today agenda, we're going to cover a few items. We have the capture solution strategy. Why is it important that we actually help organization to start this capture solutions? And followed by the common use case that we have being implemented into our customers and how we bring up the values to them. And then followed by the competitors. As you know, the capture solutions, there's a lot of competitors and how we stand out among all other competitors. And then we have a quick overview on how the licenses is being licensed to our customers, followed by a quick demo on 2 scenarios, custom onboarding, followed by the invoice processing. Okay, capture solution strategy. So when we talk about digitization, every time we hear customer talk about digitization, it's just not simply turning their paper documents into electronic documents and then store inside their file server. where actually there's a lot of process starts from all these documents. Customer receive a fax, it can be a process claim or even some application forms via the fax, or in the counter, they receive all these application forms. How do you process it? Right now, the customers are manually entering all this information into the system, where it actually cause a lot of delays, where a lot of manual work's required, and then it prompts to human errors where, every day processing so many documents, you're prompt to human errors. So with a capture solution strategy in place, we actually help them to minimize the errors and speed up the process. At the same time, when you talk about digitizations, actually there's a lot of documents, there's a lot of data being trapped within all these documents. Let's take, for example, pure to play process, where you have the invoice, where there's a lot of information being trapped inside, where it is necessary to be used in your downstream processes. So all this informations right now in a lot of organizations, they actually manually key in all these informations. And how do we help them to unlock all this data? By introducing capture solutions. We will capture all this information and then pass it on to their downstream processors to process the data as well as the documents required within the whole value chains. So the benefits of actually helping them to unlock, actually speed up the process, not just the operations. It also gives some insights to the management to make decisions for future trends, where they know what are the inputs and the outputs values. Right now, besides the normal capture solutions, for our capture solutions, we also have a business rule validations, where we can actually implement some validation rules to check on the data, ensure the data being extracted complies to your business context. Let's take, for example, for bill of ladings, certain countries are being restricted. If we are able to detect the part of uploading, for example, North Korea, we can flag it out as an error to tell that, hey, look, the system detects that your invoice, your bill of lading is actually from North Korea. We actually can do this kind of business rules validations to speed up the process and capture all these non-compliance documents. Okay, so as I talked earlier on, everything's actually sums out into piecing up all these pictures, where we extract the right content, comply with the business context that brings value to the customers. We're not just extracting unnecessary content that does not align with business context. It does not bring values. So right now, the key things that we always approach our customer as these three things: content, context, brings values. So without all this, without the right content and the right context, it brings no value to the customer. So we always sell value to our customers. So in general, the benefits from using our capture solutions, we have omni channels where we capture and locate locations, all this information through one system, where you have maybe a certain departments located in different regions that works differently. But with our system, we actually can streamline and then pass all this different information to the right department to process it through one system. So with that also, we automate a lot of process that actually reduce the labor intense processes, so that your staff, or rather the company, can relocate all these resources to other higher value activities, which optimize the whole, I'll say the whole operations, as also bring values to customers. So at the same time, as I mentioned earlier on, that we have the business rule validations, we actually can do some compliance checks and then route it to the certain departments. Another example that I have in mind is for banks, they have a maker checker process to prevent fraud from creating accounts. So we actually can have complex routing within the system. So when the maker checks the documents and they realize something has some issues with documents, they can actually flag it out using the flagging system and then route it to the compliance department or higher manager to make the decision whether to approve or not to approve these documents. So the system is just not simply capturing, but automating the whole capturing process. So now let's talk about the common usage of our capture solutions. So usually a customer organization without capture solution strategies, or solution in place, they're usually overloaded with incoming documents, be it from fax, emails, or even an encounter where they receive high volume of physical documents. So the challenges here is that due to the high volume of documents, a lot of manual process required to enter the documents, to enter the data into the right system. And then you have some shortage of manpower to do the keying, sorting, scanning, and passing it to the right department, which will highly impact on your downstream processes, downstream workflow. So this whole actually comes in the impact to your business, where you're unable to meet your internal SLA. It gradually slows down your response time to your customers, which lead to unsatisfied customers. So when you have unsatisfied customers, it will definitely affect your line of business from growing. So here, with our solutions, we are here to counter all these challenges and improve your business. So right now, when we talk about capturing, people think as well, oh, just invoice or onboarding forms, customers. But in matter of fact, if you look closely into an organization, there's a lot of documents being passed around within the organization, came from the suppliers to your plants, from plants to your corporate office, or even to your third party. Like documents can be anywhere. And all these documents can be a start of a process where the data is being trapped inside all these documents. Where a capture solution can be introduced into all different processes. We'll extract and then pass it to your LB applications to so-called streamline and automate all this process. So in addition, for sidelines, we also works with a lot of partners like SAP or Salesforce. So all these documents actually can integrate with Salesforce and SAP to have a better ecosystem where they can actually validate the data instantly via the SAP systems. They don't need to go through multiple systems. They can just go through one system to check the data as whether it's valid or is comply with the SAP standard, etc. So here are the common area where we have, poor efficiency in your company organization, where the documents are not being automated, or rather it's still using hard copy and they need to manually input. So I'll just cover a few. So let's take, for example, on the finance department, where there's a slow and inefficient processes challenge. For example, would be procure to pay process, where if the whole thing is being broken, there's no validations of capturing to validate data. It actually leads to slow of invoicing and miss of payment. So it is one of the issues, followed by the sales and customer services. So if the process does not allow your employees to access to all this information at a point, it will affect in your customer interactions, which leads to your loss of sales and customer attractions. So how does all this place? Because of your mishandling of documents. So right now, as we know, we're selling fax solution. In the past, fax, they can just simply route it into a physical location without proper documentation. It can be lost or mishandled by other departments. So with RightFax, similar concept, that all these documents is being digitized, and then it will be automatically load into our system and distribute to the right departments to process it. So this whole automate process will keep up, will target all those inefficient process to automate, and then you can pass it on to the LB applications to do the necessary next steps, or rather the downstream process. So before customers onboard to our solutions, we can see that in the diagram right now, you see it's the access informations, where we have received documents from emails, from mails, from the fax, or even printouts where the customers simply just receive from the customers on branch. Once they receive it, they will need to pass it to the staff. The staff will then manually look it up, sort it out into the right document type. Is it an invoice? Is it an onboarding form? Or is it some other process that they need to route to certain departments? So once it's done, they will route to the departments, and then they will do the manually input of these documents, which take times. And once they complete, they will need to pass to another resource to do the scanning. Once they scan, you still need to tell the person who scanned to store the documents into the right location because of your compliance or searching of informations. So this takes time for the users to organize from starting on how they ingest, how they input, and then store the documents. So this whole process takes, I'll say, number of days, depends on the process. And there's really a lot of intense in the label where they need to pass to different departments to sort it out and then input documents. So with intelligent capture, we actually streamline everything into one. So where your email or from your fax machines or your emails or even from certain portals that we have actually uses API, you can call API calls to our system to push the information into our system. Then our system will do the sorting out, auto-classify the documents into the right content. Is it invoice or is it forms? So this is very important. Why? Because as you know that all different document types has different sort of metadata. So invoice has their invoice number, invoice date, and line items. Whereas the forms, you have your customer name, etc., etc. So all this metadata is tagged to document classification. So our system able to do this auto classification and extract information and then pass to the right users. Right users will just need to log into the system and ensure that all the data is correct. And then they just need to click on a button to send it to the LB applications where they will process it and push it to your downstream flows. Right now, we also automate the process of storing the documents. You don't need to manually, after scan, you still need to store it into, for example, finance department documents. The system will auto save the documents into the right process folder to speed out the process. So all in all, it'll actually minimize the number of resources and the time to process your end-to-end process. Okay. So this is before users use the capture solutions. So right now with all the streamline, the users is just, we help them to reduce the workload by speed up the process and the process. And then definitely with the reduce of human interventions, and we leverage on our system to do the compliance check, which is the business rule, is to reduce the human errors and increase the accuracy of the documents. So with all these things in place, we can pass it out to your downstream process, which improve your downstream processes. So this impacts actually helps you to meet your SLA and then improve the response time to customers, which lead to customer satisfaction. With customer satisfaction, definitely your line of business will grow. And you can have more times to actually expand your business by creating more accounts or even create more line of products within organizations. Okay, here is a quick preview on who are our customers using our solutions. It varies from banks, insurance, on various industries, even for the government sectors, logistics, etc., etc. So here is just a small piece of the customer using our solutions. So if you have more, if you want to explore in certain industry, feel free to look for us. We can actually explore who are the customers and how do we approach into this specific industries and what are the use cases for certain industries. Let's take, for example, for bank, we have the onboarding processes. And for logistics company, we have not just the import and export declarations you can use. We also have certain industries for what can I think of right now. For banks, actually, there's more usage. Because recently we closed with certain things like your trade finance and your credit ops, all these things, there's documents involved as well. So all these different product lines we can target within the banks. Okay, here are some success stories that we have that you can find them in our OpenText story website. You can see all this. So this company is a financial services and insurance. So as you're aware that the challenges they face is more on the physical documents, where there's a lot of application forms that we need to manually sort it out, and then key in this information and check against the supporting documents. So with our solutions, we actually help them to capture the documents and then check against the supporting documents, ensure that the proof of residence and their identification card, the names and the ID is tally before they can process. So with all this, the leverage on our system, we actually helps to increase the number of the accounts open and the decrease of the opening time, where all this are automated. At the same time, because of all this system in place to do the compliance checks, we reduce the errors by 28%. They can actually use all these times to do other higher value operations. So the next story also is a bank and industry. So this is a South African bank. So same thing comes to the onboarding of clients. It's all about manual documents. They receive manual documents, they need checks, and then a lot of branch. They have all these documents and it's not in real time. So when they go to the branch office, even though they went to scan and they go to the office to do the checks, which takes a lot of times. So right now we also provide real-time services where they can simply go to the branch office, they scan, in real time, they will get the results on the spot to open up the accounts for the customers. So later on in the demo, we will demo on these two kind of process, real-time and batch processing. So see how it fits into different customers' requirements. So just some of the hits out of the banks. So for the branch office, they usually use the real time. So for the real time, for the batch processing we have for the trade finance, as well as for the credit ops, they actually can scan all these documents. And I'm pretty sure that all the banks, they have their own trade finance or their loan systems that we need to comply with to check the documents. So we have the API calls can use API call to push the data into their system where they can manage everything between one systems. And moving forward, we're also having iframe being introduced to our system. We actually can embed the whole capture solution into their Bantric system, all the. So right now they will need to maneuver various systems, but with the new introduction of the iframe, they can actually consolidate everything into one system to process all these documents. So as I mentioned about all these changes, the values is definitely helping them to eliminate all these paperwork, the delays because of the backend processing. Now they have real time. They can speed up the process on real time, and then increase definitely the business amount of values. And most importantly, the customer experience. Okay, so the next story that I'm going to share will be MSIG, it's an insurance company. So this company, I'm pretty sure you guys know this company is an insurance company. Its headquarters in Tokyo. So this company that we help them is more on the digitization of our documents. When they submit their supporting documents like their passport or their IC, we need to extract it out and then pump into our solutions. So usually when we talk all these big companies, we don't just sell our capture solution, we sell many more other products. So I believe RightFax is also one of them, where they will actually receive a lot of customer opening requirements from the RightFax, and how do we channel or translate all these documents into useful data using capture information. We speed up the customer onboarding process, where we piece all this information into the policies fields. So right now, in real time, when the agents look for the customer, we actually provide mobile SDK that actually can have their iPad with them. They just need to capture the information of the forms, or rather their identity card or their proof of residence. We can channel all this information, extract all this data, and pump it into the so-called policy system. At the same time, where they can use other system where OpenText provide Extreme system to generate all these documents being extracted, once they sign this policy, they can just pump all this information right to the customers. So there's a whole ecosystems so we can explore when we have all these customers. Okay, here's the values. So we built seamless digital experience because right now for MSIG, what I know of, that they actually embed the capturing into their mobile applications. So they can actually on the go capture information and then fill it up in their forms, where they can simply just fill up certain forms, certain pieces, and allow the customer to sign off. Voila, the customers has really signed on, simply easily sign on the new policy, etc. So everything's through capture, and then we massage data and pump it back to their insurance system. Okay, so for the competitor wise, so in 2023, so this from the worldwide, the info source, the OpenText is really in the star quadrant. So we have competitors like IBM, Abby, as well, Kofax. So all these three competitors are so-called I would say, our competitors, where the remaining other software company is not really our competitors. So IBM actually, as you know, that they don't really focus much on their capture anymore. They focus more on their other solutions, and they're selling off certain software. Where OpenText, we are highly intense improving our system. We'll be introducing a lot of different technologies like the machine learning, and moving forward, we have the so-called Gen AI being introduced into our capture system. So still not now in the roadmap, where we will actually highly improve on how we capture the data and how it transforms into useful information to the organization, where it decreases the time in learning and extracting the data. You just need to pass the document system. The system will be smart enough to know, okay, this is an invoice. So these are the information that you want to extract. So we are highly innovating and put a lot of intense into R&D. Therefore, we have moved to the top quadrant in 2024. So in the whole document processing, not just capturing, we actually introduce certain backend workflows to improve on how our system is, not just capturing information, but rather how we're going to automate all this process and benefits our customers. So right now you see that Kofax is no longer in the picture because they have really renamed it as Tungsten. So Kofax wise, they're more focusing on the fax solution, rather the scanning software in the past, where they do not have a lot of automations. Their automation is more on the RPA. So right now, RPA is no longer in the trend, where we see the trend is more on the Gen AI portion and how we automate all this information and speed up the process of identifying, classifying, and extracting the data. So this is the key to improve the speed. As you know now, you simply go to ChatGPT, you just ask some questions, or you just give them certain documents, you get the documents, the answers instantly. So right now we're trying to introduce this Gen AI capability into our capture solutions to benefit our customers and get improve on efficiency. Yep. So before going into the demo, I think I'll just have a high level introduce what is a capture process. Because in all the captured system, there is a flow on how we ingest, how we capture document. So we support multiple channels from scanners, from MFDs, your emails, or even from your fax machines, from your RightFax, where they can integrate with our intelligent capture solutions by exporting them into a watch folder, and then we'll capture all this information and palm it into our system. So in addition, we also provide web services for SOAP and then REST services that you can call the APIs to push the palm the information into our system, and then we process it. So once after we capture the documents, the very first thing it does is to actually classify documents. Like I mentioned earlier on, when we say classification is important because the metadata is tagged to all this document type, invoice, forms, your remittance advice, etc., etc. So once we classify documents, we will then extract the data based on the document type. So last but not least, before we export out, we'll do a validations. So in the market, I will say that no OCR solution will tell you that they have 100% accuracy rate as well as 100% can extract all the information correctly. Because of the image quality plays a part. Because with that, I would say that our solution hits up to 90 to 97%. And the shortfall of the 3%, we actually can use business rule to validate the data, to flag it up, and then push it out to the users. So we can set like threshold. If anything extract fall below a certain threshold, we flag it up for the users to make changes, or even business rule. So later on, I will set some business rule. They can actually see how we actually can. Okay. So I will say that overcome the shortfall that we have for the 3% to make it 100% on how we assure to our customers using business rule. Okay. So once we validate and then the users ensure that everything is correct, we export the data out to the LB applications. So this transfers to your downstream processes, be it SAP, or even you can just use some export the data into a database straight to your LB applications that you can actually perform it, or via XML formats. So now we talk about the new, I will say the latest engine that we have in OpenText is called the IEE, Information Extraction Engine. So in the past, so I'll say that, okay, let me rephrase it. So our capture solution provides two kinds of flavors. So one is using template-based, which is called the advanced recognition. And the other one is called the IEE, which is templateless. It will not create any template, but rather it will store all these feedbacks and your machine learning into a database. So with this IEE actually speed up the process on how we train the system, so users can train their documents on the go. Let's take, for example, talk about invoices. Your business, the customer will grow. You have more invoices from different suppliers. So you cannot always pass it to your IT department to create templates. You spend a lot of times in your turnover time, where your internal IT will need to spend about 5 days to create templates and then pass it back and deploy it to the system, which take a long time. So right now with the IEE, where it does not use any template, how it works. So in the event where we have a new supplier A, so when new supplier A send their invoice or the documents to you, it will scan the documents and then push it into our machine learning. So our machine learning will go through a database, see whether does this supplier invoices has been trained or is being recognized in the system. So if it does not, then it will push it out to the users, to the operators, tell the operators, hey, I don't know what is this. please teach me what document type it is and where to extract the information. So once the users have provided feedback, it will then store these documents, the informations on the layout, on the elements, and what document type it is, and where to extract into a database. So on the second time or third time, when we receive the similar invoice from the supplier, then it will go through this database. Oh, the database, if it recognizes, hey, I know what it is, I know what to classify. You classify documents as an invoice, and then it will auto extract and pass it out to the documents. Because this instantly through these machine learning, the database. So second time, you might get the results, and the results might not be correct because you just train it only once. You can further fine tune it and then push it back to the system. So the more you train, the more document you receive from the same supplier, the more the system receive and know what to extract. It will improve the accuracy rate over time. From 90 to 97, over the time, it will improve accuracies. This is what the machine learning capability and helps the customers to speed up the time of training and then get the best results to push it on to your downstream processes. Okay, so with this machine learning, the IEE, we also provides a library from our R&D team. So we provide these 6 different libraries. We have the delivery note, incoming quotation, invoice, order informations, remittance advice, as well as sales orders. So these are all these pre-trained libraries that you can actually instantly use it. You just need to tag the documents into the right content, and then it will tell you what it is. Let me show you where are all these libraries. So there's a designer. So once you log in, we have okay. So we do provide a few different scenarios. So these are the libraries that I mentioned earlier on. So you can see there's an invoice, sales order, delivery notes, and order confirmation, remittance advice, as well as quotations. So let's take a look at the invoice. So today, if I create a profile that has the invoice, it has the scenarios that is really pre-trained by the system. So it knows once you ingest a invoice, you will know what to extract. So from all this other information. So all these are actually from the SAP fields that you actually can reuse it, or you can, because for certain customers that they do not really require so many informations, you can actually hide it off in the, let's take for example. Yep. So these are available fields that the users from the pre-trained library, you can actually unhide. Maybe you don't need all this currency or blocknet or vendor text. You can actually unhide all this information, and the system will not display or train or extract all this information. So you can actually use all this pre-trained library to extract all this informations. Okay. Right. So earlier on, I did mention about the improvement of the accuracy. So like I mentioned, it takes about 1 to 2 to 3, 5 times of documents where the system will know what it is and where to extract. So after the 3 documents, the accuracy rate will increase over time because you keep training the same documents, and then the system will recognize what it is and where to extract. Yep. So this whole machine learning and the optimization curve of using the IEE project recognition project. So right now, I'll just quickly go through on our mobile SDK. So we do provide a mobile SDK that you can actually embed into the customer software systems. So like I mentioned earlier on the MSIG. So a lot of, I will say a lot of insurance company nowadays, you sign up for, you meet your agents, they actually brings an iPad along with them, and then they actually use the camera features to capture the IC or driving license, etc., to capture all this information. So all this are actually using the mobile SDK to embed into the system. So in the past, we do provide mobile software, another separate system. So actually causes a lot of issues to the customer because they need to lock in multiple systems. So that's why we actually introduced the mobile SDK, where they can actually embed the whole capture process into their own systems. Okay, so as you know, actually the mobile now is more advanced as it goes advanced. They actually provides more inbuilt features for your light sensor, autofocus, or your balancing or capturing a nicer content. So the mobile SDK actually plays a part to help you to do the cropping, whereas we also leverage much on the mobile itself. It has all these features on auto focusing, and then auto create a better image quality, because right now the image quality plays a part on the extraction. So you have a poor quality of image, you will not extract a good results because, and the system, if the image is blur, the system can't even recognize what it is. So we actually leverage a lot on the mobile itself, and then add on with our mobile SDKs to do certain cleaning of images, like cropping of the four edges. So let's take a look example on how the mobile SDK works. So this is a custom onboarding process where they actually captured the driving license. So they actually launch the own applications, and then you just take the picture, you auto crop the image with the four corners, you see the green areas, and then they will sum it up to the backend process. This is all real time, and then we will classify this and then extract all this information and push it back to the applications. So this is how the mobile SDK works and help most of the customers. You can see that we can export out either into a PDF format or to the LP applications. All right, so let me quickly go through on our license module for our capture solutions. So right now we provide two kinds of flavor. In general, there's only two kinds, which is the standard and the enterprise server. So actually both comes with the advanced recognition and then the basic. So right now on the left, you will see, hold on. So these are the basic. So this two is the basic package that they do not do the auto classification nor extraction. It's just purely converting it into a searchable PDF and then export out. Or we can use the barcode, recognizing barcode or QR code. So these are the basic. So usually what we sell to customers is on the advanced recognition, where they do the advanced, they classify documents and then extract the documents, the metadata. So once we extract it out, the next layer that we need to consider is on the number of volumes. So number of pages they need to scan per year, followed by the clients. So we provide a few clients. We have the scan clients, attended clients, as well as the web clients. So if it's the web clients, the distributed clients, you will need to use the enterprise model, where it has the enterprise server, the real-time services available. So last but not least, the add-on will be on the Asian language. If it's Asian language, we need to purchase the add-on for capturing the Asian language like Chinese or even Thai language, Vietnamese, etc. So here's the package on what it consists of. So in the basic features we have is we come with 100K pages per year with one scan and attended client, followed by the extended the enterprise export, where we export it to our own content server or even the other CMI support system like SharePoint, etc. So where the enterprise server includes in the standard, but right now it also has the mobile SDK, the web services can leverage on, the web services for the real time, as well as the web clients. And with this enterprise model, we also come with two non-production server that you can develop your UAT and the SIT environment, and one DR environment. So all these are packaged in enterprise server. So the remaining two actually with the advanced recognition. So it's similar, like the name suggests, standard server and standard server. So the things are the same. It's just that the advanced recognition comes with the advanced recognition page count that does the classification as well as the extraction. So the minimum for the enterprise server, right, is 1 million page count. Okay. So if in the event that the customer do not have 1 million page count, they only like have a 100 or 200K, they still can purchase this standard server with advanced recognition. We have another SKU is to upgrade the standard server to enterprise server, that they can enjoy these other bundle solutions like the web services, cluster, and the non-production environment. It's just purely upgrading it into all these SKUs, but not the page count. So it still remain as 200K pages per year, but without the 1 million pages. Okay, so let me do a demo on how our capture solution works. So right now, I will just do the customer onboarding process, where you will see it's a real-time capturing process, how we validate and how we export the data out to the system. So it's a real-time and it's a bank system. So I will have a maker and checker process. So Amy is the maker, and what we're going to scan is these three documents. We have the application form, the ID card, as well as utility bills to prove that this user's customer, the residence area is similar as the application form. And the channel that we're going to scan do is via web client. And you will see in the real time how the document has been classified and extract on the go. In. Okay, so this is the web client. So customers simply log into the web client. So once they log into the web client, you will see all this available process that is tied to the customer. So because we actually can sort out by the departments. When you sign, they can, so over here, have departments. So different departments actually can see different process that is tagged to, that's enabled and allowed them to use the process. So right now I'm the admin, so I can see all the process I've created. Okay, so right now we're doing the customer onboarding process. We click on the customer onboarding. And there, because this is my local machine, there's no scanner attached, so I'll be doing import. So these are the documents, application form, ID card, as well as the utility bills. So as you can see right now, the document is being classified as on the go. So while it's processing, it's actually extracting the data as well. See, once we ingest in the real time, you return out the results that, hey, I know this is the form, or this is ID card, or this is a residence. The system will be smart enough to classify these documents. And when we go to review stage, you flag out any error to warn the users like, hey, there's something wrong, please fix it out. So this is the business rules that I mentioned earlier on, that we can actually help to minimize human errors, where we let the system do the check for you. So right now, there's this, if you can see clearly, there's a question mark over here. So right now, what it means is we have set a certain threshold, is because it's handwritten. So if anything fall below a certain threshold, like 70%, the system will detect it and flag it out. Hey, I got this result, but what I extracted out is 65. It's below the threshold. I'll flag it out as a question mark to the user. Hey, I need your attention to correct this data. So I flag it out as a question mark for the users to make the necessary changes. So we can see that it's an A, so we make the changes. So whereas the given name, you can see that this first name actually from ID card, and then the given name, it's extracted from here. Due to the spacing, it's not tally. That's why you flag out as an error. So we can see that all this information with existing. the checkbox, it will check the documents, and then the given name, surname, date of birth. All these are all handwritten documents we can extract using our engine. So in addition, right now, all these handwrittens are in box format, which is a constraint box that we are confident that we're able to extract out. So in the event that customers has a freeform box, then users tend to have cursive writing. It's hard for the system to recognize it. So our R&D team is still working on recognizing all this cursive writing freeform text. So to improve on the recognition of handwritten. So meanwhile, our system actually has a plugin that you can actually subscribe to the Google Vision. So it's a third-party engine that you can subscribe and then use it to recognize the handwritten languages using the Google Vision. So Google Vision are strong in their cursive writing, freeform text. So we can leverage on the third-party engines to do the extraction. So the remaining fields are actually checkboxes that we can checkbox it. We can detect whether it's checked, and then we populate the data out for the users. Same goes to that. So we can see the first name, the voter ID, also can extract from the ID card, followed by the surname and the address. It's all trained by the system on where to extract. So earlier on, I did mention about the business rule. So in the event that the first name today are extracted or is a wrong application form, rather it's not an E but an A, and users try to submit this document to the backend process, the system will flag out, hey, look, your name from the ID card and the application form does not tally. Please validate it. So if you think there's something wrong, you can actually flag it out to the users, or you make the changes. Maybe we extract wrongly, we can just simply make the changes, or we can flag it out to the users to, so over, hold on. Okay, we have a flagging options over here, but it's not being configured in this system. So later on, the next invoice, we have the flagging options. We actually can leverage on the flagging, flag it out, and then it will pass to the other departments to make these changes using this flagging. Whether you think it as a fraud, you can just check it's fraud. You'll then pass it to the compliance team to do the necessary actions. Or you can say that, oh, this might need certain approval, the manager need to approve. You can manager approval required. You can route to the managers to do the approval. So what I meant by the workflow, right, is over here. So for sorry, let me change to a more complex workflow. Okay. Okay, so let me continue. So this is the whole workflow. So I mentioned earlier on how we're going to flag it up to pass it to the next users. Okay, once everything is correct, we'll sum it up, and then it will push to the next users. So like I mentioned earlier on, we have a maker checker process. So once we have the makers has actually checked all these documents, we pass to our checker, which is bot. Bot will do these necessary checks to prevent fraud, to ensure that all the data is extracted correctly. So now we're looking back to the system. See, bot will see this flow. There will be a batch processing waiting for him to pick up a job. We can actually set up into a notification. We can actually send out email to the users like, hey, there's a job for you, please act on it, etc. So once we pick it up, it will be the same document set. And then we go to review, you will flag it out to just now earlier on, we have a character that's fall below threshold. You will still flag it out to users to make sure that the maker has made the correct changes. So here, to ensure it's correct, then we just click on the tick. And at the same time, we can do the necessary check. So all the information is pretty much similar to what the maker. Everything is correct, there's no fraud involved, then you can simply submit and export the data out. Okay, so last but not least, we have to export the data out. So this export features, right now we export into a pretty, because there's no other applications that we're going to import to. So we will just do a local export with the PDF. It becomes a searchable PDF that you can actually search within this PDF. At the same time, the metadata, we can extract out into XML format or CSV format. So this is an example. You can see that the time is 4:26, which is mine is the US timing. That's why it's 26 AM. So you can see all the data has been extracted accordingly to what we have configured. So we can, how we're going to extract it out by simply changing the system over here. Yeah, if XML, you can just simply create your own XML format that suits your LB applications, how we're going to push it out. So all this does not involve scripting. It's just simply writing a text, just description, then you just write the expressions. You don't need a high complex of codings involved. You just simply write some expression, you can get the data out. Okay. Okay, last but not least, I'll quickly go through another invoice processing. I think we're short of time. So we will do a few steps: auto classification, extraction, exploring data, and followed by machine learning. You can see how easy that we can train the system and export accordingly. So here are two different scenarios. So one scenario is using an induced shipping, which is an existing invoice that has been trained by a system, followed by the office depot invoices that is not trained. So we train how it works. Okay, so let me go back to the system. So right now we do the invoice demo. We click on the invoice demo. We select the invoices. So induced shipping is the one that we have trained. So right now you see here it's called the batch processing. The system will not do a real-time classification extraction, but rather you will just scan and submit to the backend system. And the backend system will then do the necessary checks, classification, and extract. So once it's done, it will then push it out to the batch. At the same time, the batch processing, we do a few things. We have an image enhancement process that we actually helps to further enhance the image quality, because right now you know that certain images are pretty bad. We can actually remove the background and to get a better readability of all this informations. So we actually can do all this functions and features. So you can remove all those background colors and make sure it's readable before process the invoice. So once we get the data, we do the necessary enhancement, classification, extractions. You can see that we are able to get the results. So total. Okay, quickly go through on the item as well. We can actually leverage, it will auto capture all this data, be it just from page 1 or page 2. So actually it goes into multiple tables. You know, invoices usually comes into multiple, items come spread across not just one page. You might have two or three pages with the invoice items. So the system is smart enough to search, to run through all these pages and capture all this information from page 1 and page 2. So quickly go through the business rule as well. We also can actually have a business rule. So in the event that it is captured as 01, and try to submit, it'll flag an error that the calculated value is not tally with the extracted amount. So either your subtotal extracted wrongly or your text is wrong. So we just make the necessary changes back and we submit. There's no error. Okay, so now we export it out. So I'll quickly go through the machine learning. Due to the time, we have the Office Depot documents, which is not trained by system. We submit to the backend system. So as it's a brand new system, as a brand new document, the system do not know what it is. So it will come back as unclassified. So we need to tell the system that, okay, this belongs to an invoice. Okay, select its invoice, and then we submit. So once it submit, then it will know what whether it's been trained before and have where to extract. So if it's not, then we will need to train the system where it is. So the supply name is Office Depot. The invoice number is 156. The date we can auto convert it from your date from February to a date month year config. PO number, subtotal, invoice total, that's text. So in the table format, it's easy to train as well. We simply just need to create a line, tell them this is description. Here's the quantity. This is the unit price, and then that's the total. There's an autocomplete button. You click on autocomplete button. The system was smart enough to run through the whole documents and captured all these necessary line items. You don't need to manually train one by one. There's an autocomplete button. Okay, so now we submit this document. So to ensure that the system has been trained and learned, we will upload another document. Okay, it's from the same supplier. So we'll submit. Okay, so it takes about 1 or 2 times for the system to recognize it, but certain documents take about 1 time. So the system now knows what it is. It can classify as an invoice. When it comes to extraction, it knows what to extract as well because of the layout and elements. See, earlier on was February, now it become April. So the system knows where to pick up all this information because we have trained it. So this is how easy for the user itself to train the documents rather than passing on to the IT department to make the changes. They can train their own system by themselves on where to extract and correct all those informations. Yep.
Okay, thanks, Bjorn.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much. Yeah, I think the most important thing is that at the end of this session is that I hope that these solutions really bring up the value to our partners here and they can offer it to their customers, right? So but then again, I think there was some question here, but because due to the time it's running out,
Sorry
so
about
what I'm gonna do is that I will kind of like getting all these questions and reply to the respective person that actually participants and the partners who are asking about the question here. Okay, so I think again, thank you so much for all that joining in today. Thanks, Bjorn. Thanks, Joey. Thanks for your time for getting this good insight and valuable information for all of us. Okay, so thanks again to all the partners and have a great evening ahead. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Bjorn.
Bye.
Thank you, all the partners. Bye.
Thank you, Brian.
No
Thank you,
problem.
Bjorn.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.